How do you identify what's next?
I just read a lot, right? I'm just one of those guys that just consumes information.
On what, the internet or where?
Everything. Yeah, everything. Anywhere I can get it, I just try to learn.
And you've always been this way.
Yeah. I've always been like a knowledge geek where it mostly tech, but it could be anything. Anything business related, technology related, marketing related, culture related. I want to try to stay on top of it. Steve Jobs had this one quote that really stuck with me. He said, everything's a remix. And if you look at the early days of the Apple products, there was this company back in the day called Xerox PARC. And Xerox came out with the first mouse-driven PC. But their marketing sucked. And they had no idea what they were doing. No one knew what they were about. Steve Jobs came in, a little bit of this, a little bit, remixed, and bam, right? All of a sudden, you got Apple and then a Macintosh, and then he
made it sexier.
Yeah. And then even he got fired, right? He got fired from that company, and then they had to bring him back to make it work. And so, for me, the more you learn, the more you know how to remix. And that's what this is all about. So, how do you go from YouTube, which was the first platform for video that got big, to Instagram, to Snapchat, and know, okay, do I want to be on Discover? Do I want to be on Reels? Do I want to be on TikTok? And if I do this, how's YouTube going to treat me? And all the decisions you guys have got to make on a daily basis. And the fact that, like we were just talking, you created all these products and you want it to be organic. That's a business decision too. And then you have to learn by trial and error, right? You were curious about what might work. Obviously you're walking proof of what does work, right? And now you've got to be able to continue to make those decisions, because in this business with all the margins on these products, everybody's coming at you all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they think they can do the exact same thing, but it's not that easy. But for me, it's like, that's why I try to stay ahead, because whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's VR, whether it's crypto, whether it's metaverse, all these things may not be prime time yet, but I want to know when they will be, and I want to be out front when they are. The thing about no matter what you're doing, whether you're trying to be a bartender and learning drinks, whether you're a sales rep, whether you're a programmer, you're a consultant, whatever it may be, information now is available to everybody. And the common phrase, knowledge is power. And acquiring that knowledge is just effort. Going out and connecting to people and learning is just effort. And the one thing, I have all these stupid sayings but the one thing in life that you can control is your effort. And that's 99% of the time. That's the difference between being successful and not being successful. Who worked a little bit harder? When you walk into a room to sell something or to be sold or to try to understand something or to deal with a problem with your kids or whatever it may be, education, who worked harder? Who worked harder at learning? That's typically going to be the person who has the advantage in the situation. Because we've all walked into situations where we weren't as prepared as we would have liked to be, or we thought we were and somebody knew more. That's the king. The one thing in life each and every person in this room can control from now to evermore is your effort.
What is your one personal characteristic that has helped you most in your entrepreneurial journey?
I'd say two. One, I'm super competitive. I hate to lose. And two, I'm relentless. I mean, I'm the guy. I mean, I remember my first company, Micro Solutions. I'd buy a bucket of ribs, and we did system integration, and I wrote software. I'd buy a bucket of ribs, and that ribs I would just eat as I would write software, and I'd be there, and all of a sudden it'd be 36 hours later, or I'd lose track of days just because I just get so focused and so involved in it. That's what I do, and I still, I read the Hadoop manual and learned a little bit about Pig Latin, and I just want to keep up, right? And so that's probably my biggest strength.
You got to sell.
Yeah.
Because in my experiences, the CEOs, the owners, the founders that didn't sell, they all failed.
Yeah.
With no exceptions, 100% of them failed. And, when you're just starting and it's just you, who else is going to sell?
Nobody.
And that's the other, and that leads to another mistake entrepreneurs make. They try to hit hiring home runs, right? So the minute they hit a roadblock, I'll just hire I'll hire a new marketing person, right? Or I'll hire a new head of sales. Thinking that, this person's amazing. No one's ever hired somebody and said they suck really bad.
Of course not.
Right? I found the most amazing person. Why'd they leave their last 5 jobs? Oh, they were amazing, but right?
That's such a good point. See, that's what I love how your brain works. It's like exactly, it's so true, it's so practical and common sense.
It's pragmatic, yeah, right?
It's common sense, but common sense isn't so common.
No, I know. You just ask why. Why'd they leave? But entrepreneurs tend to think, okay, I'm hiring this amazing marketing person, and he or she is going to know what to do.
Yep.
And then they tell that to their investors, because that's typically why they're hiring a marketing person. And they say, oh, this person's amazing. Our next quarter is going to be great. And then it's not. Then they go to the next marketing person.
Totally.
Then they're in this hamster wheel again, and they're screwed. And it's the
also
same
relying on other people.
Well, yes. And that's the whole thing, right? You've got to be able to solve the problems yourself.
Self-reliant.
Now, at some point your business gets bigger and you have to learn how to do a lot of other things. When you go to 5 people, it's one thing. You go to 10 or 15, it's another challenge, as you learn how to manage and deal with people. But at the same time, if you're not great at your core competency, how are you going to train those people?
Right.
How are you going to know what the goals are for the organization and how to communicate to them how to do what you need them to do?